Ooh, what's happening, guys? Welcome to another eclectic edition of PWT Podcast. Yeah. Finally, we're back. We're back like we never left. But for real, though, it's been a minute. This is episode 90. We have Big Trouble, Ben Bishop, in the house tonight. His interview will be a little bit later. And, of course, I'm joined here by my friend SHADOWBATASH, Ash V. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. My good buddy from the IWC. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Ash. And how are you doing, by the way, Ash?
I'm doing quite well. I just got back from a family brunch with my dad and my grandma.
Oh, good. Hopefully not as dramatic as the IWC's been lately.
Oh, no. Okay, well, as dramatic as my family can be, there was no drama to be had, surprisingly.
And if you guys are watching on YouTube, you can see on the screen at SHADOWBATASH on X and her YouTube channel there at Batty for Wrestling. And also, if you're just listening, I just said it, at SHADOWBATASH, youtube.com/@Batty for Wrestling. And make sure you give her a subscribe and a follow. But as I mentioned before, I have Big Ben, Hurtful Kurt back in the day, and we're going to talk about WWE ID. However, you had sent me a post, and I was like, why don't you come on the show and talk to me about this? Because all the rage right now, and not like rage in a good positive way, like, oh, everybody's into it, amongst the vocal minority that is the IWC sickos, they are, and some of these dirt sheet writers who like to claim they're not biased or they don't lean one way or the other, clearly showing their biases. But yeah, people are enraged about the WWE ID program, and that's sort of the focal point of this show. So you're going to hear from fans like myself and Ash, and you're going to hear from an independent wrestler, a prominent independent wrestler himself, right? He'll be wrestling Nick Nemeth soon in ACW. He just wrestled AJ Francis recently, wrestled Roderick Strong on Collision in AEW. So the man's been there and done that and gotten the hot dogs and the handshakes. And yeah, so we'll get his perspective. But you sent me this screen grab of what the dirt sheets had to say about it. And we've covered this a little bit on PWT Live already, but I want to dive more into it with you, Ash. So you sent me the screen grab and I posted it on X, and I'm going to share this tab for those of you watching. And if you're just listening, there is a tweet from Kate Fightful, Mark Order, at Miss Katefabe. She says, I love the women on my timeline. And this person here, what she's referring to is a tweet from a person named at Catherine_973X, who says, WWE have never cared about the indies outside of personal gain. Miss me with that ID bullshit. I support wrestlers getting their bag. Lord knows most are criminally underpaid, but that can happen without pretending WWE isn't a grape for YouTube. Grape apologist, fascist sack of shit. Ash, what's your take on this?
So it's typical like anti-WWE rhetoric, and I'm going to put a little context for you here. Catherine is from the UK, and she's part of the people who think WWE had took a major part in killing the UK indie scene. I'm not going to say like WWE doesn't have a part in like what happened with the UK indie scene, but they're not all to blame for it. They have like some of it, but not all the blame for like what happened to the UK indies. Because like the big part of like what ruined the UK indie scene was the speaking out movement, where like a lot of the talent were outed as nonces and diddlers, if you will, to use UK terminology. And also this thing called the pandemic, when everything fucking shut down.
Yeah, exactly.
You what?
Exactly. So, but I mean, not to say though that WWE maybe affected some people negatively. I'm certain that's happened, but think about the vast majority of people I think stood up to. You got to listen to the wrestlers. When the wrestlers stand up and they're like, no, the UK scene helped out so many people. Look at the stars who've come out of NXT UK and stuff like that.
Yeah, like
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Kate we know where she like she just really doesn't like WWE, and that's her prerogative. I don't even know if she really believes it. She might just be doing it to kind of try and be edgy, I guess.
It's like the way Miss like Katefabe is. It's just it's she's kind of wishy-washy with her opinions. Like I'll be real with you, I follow her because we tend to like a lot of the same things, although
That's
there are
fine.
some takes. Sorry.
I said that's fine, man. You can follow people you don't agree with 100% of the time, you know.
Exactly, right? Because we're all adults. We're like, there's nothing wrong with having differing of opinions. It's just the way you go about it. Like civil discussion. What the hell is that? Am I right?
Yeah. Life would fucking suck if everybody just agreed about everything, you know?
That's how high-minded echo chambers are created.
Yeah. So that's what I mean, right? It's sort of like this bubble mentality. You get blocked out if you don't agree. And it's like the majority of people like WWE. I'm so sorry that I don't know. I don't even know if some of these people believe the shit they're saying. Like this Catherine lady here saying, I support wrestlers getting their bag. Well, yeah, okay. Lord knows most are criminally underpaid. Sure, but that can happen without pretending WWE isn't a grape apologist. Like, why do they always go to these things that are completely unrelated? And then, like, fashion, like, how do you just throw that at people? You know, what does that even mean? Everyone just says that shit. I don't even know if people know what that means.
Exactly. Like, and another thing about like it's about them being like R word apologists. It's just like most of the people who were part of that lawsuit don't work there anymore. They're under a new regime and management.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, keep fighting the good fight. I guess they feel like they're punching up and stuff. And I mean, I don't know. I get defensive of AEW too sometimes, so I get it. But just to say, like, man, look into Tony Khan's history as well. Keep the same energy with the Khans and Jacksonville Jaguars and some of the stuff. You know what I mean? I don't like to bring it all up, but it's just gross how this happens. And then them saying, "Oh, I'm all for them getting their bags." Well, it's not only that, like, you know, I believe that WWE doing good helps all pro wrestling in general, as long as their goal isn't we're going to monopolize everything. And that's not their initiative. They're just looking at the future. They just want to have a plethora of talent, an abundance of talent, you know, and that way, you know, because there's more content. People are consuming more and more and more. Okay, let's give them more and more. And, I think I have it bookmarked here, but there is some sort of number I saw where maybe I didn't bookmark it, but there are indies selling like almost 2,000 tickets that like weren't selling that much before, you know, because there's WWE ID tournament match or whatever's going on, right? So
yeah, I saw about that.
Yeah, I mean, they're selling more tickets, so that's good for everybody involved. That means they're going to sell more merch. It means that people who might not know what GCW is might know what GCW is now. And it's just incredibly unfortunate that when Tony Khan is soaking up ROH and everyone's pretending shit sweet like a fucking flapjack soaking up the maple syrup. You know what I mean? You're my Canadian bud, eh? You know what I'm talking about. But, but you know, when Tony Khan's soaking up the indie scene and giving people money and showing up to fucking Rev Pro shows and pulling people off GCW shows, then replacing them with Jericho, when he's doing all that shit, it's all okay. Yeah, it's all good, and it's not monopolizing at all. We wish he bought TNA too. But when WWE's like, look, we're not gonna buy up every territory again, but we're gonna help make them hot, and then we're gonna label some that are our official, like, developmental before our developmental, because now our developmental's so fucking good. You know, it's so refined, and what we're producing is so good and polished, man. Like, NXT is a tremendous television wrestling television show. It's one of the best.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I was about to say I missed. I didn't watch this week's, but I watched the Roadblock special, and holy crap, that was such a good show. I'm like, this is the shit I'm missing out on. What?
Yes. Yeah, and they followed it up with another banger. They had an underground match, just another tremendous show. But it's good that they have two avenues now, like the NIL, right?
Yeah.
Athletes from other sports and stuff like that. And then you have the indie people, and it's like the NIL kind of go to LFG or whatever, and then the indie folks go through Evolve, and they all sort of go through these ID federations or wherever you need to plug them in. Like even guys like Lexus King, he goes and works Reality of Wrestling and stuff like that, because let's face it, he's not the greatest wrestler in the world yet, but that's why he's in developmental. And
exactly, that's what NXT's there for.
Exactly. So I just think that when Tony Khan's just buying up an indie and booking random ass matches, and there's really no rhyme or reason to it. And early on, when he was booking Ring of Honor out of that studio there, I actually kind of enjoyed it. Tony was on a good run of like, okay, it's just supposed to be an indie with fucking good matches. You know what I mean? Like in a small, intimate setting, and like sort of what it used to be. No, I always say if a million people were going to watch Ring of Honor, they would have just fucking did it before. So there's no really resurrecting it. But if you treat it for what it is, and that's what WWE's doing, they're not like, we're going to buy TNA. We're going to fucking work with TNA, treat it for what it is, and get Cora Jade experience working with Tessa Blanchard and Masha Slamovich and shit before she even gets to the main roster. It's only going to help make people better, and it's a good working relationship, and people are acting like it's Vince going around buying up the fucking territories. No, it's not. They're working with people. All.
Exactly, and with TNA and GCW working with WWE, it gets more eyeballs and people invested into the product. And isn't that what you want for your favorite company? You want them to draw more people. You want more people to know about the show, so that way when you're talking about it, you're not going to be like, what? Or that's still a thing?
Mm-hmm. No, you're absolutely right about that. And speaking of which, wrestlers piped in. We're going to hear from Big Ben Bishop, Big Trouble Ben Bishop later on in the show. And yeah, it's an interview I conducted with him earlier, so it's a little bit of Time Cop, right? But it's going to be on the end of the show there. Yes, he'll be joining us later, but it happened before, but he'll be listening to it tomorrow. It's kind of like Time Cop. But either way, Brett Lauderdale himself piped in, and we covered this again on PWT live show. Of course, that goes down on YouTube. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple or Stitch or wherever you get your podcasts, head over to youtube.com/@ProWrestleClips. That is where you catch the live shows Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays here on PWT. But either way, we have, speaking of Big Trouble, Ben Bishop, he points out the flaw in the IWC's logic. He says, from 2015 to 2019, IWC are saying, wouldn't it be cool if WWE actually cared about the indies? IWC in 2025, WWE needs to stay away from the indies. And he says, I truly don't care what side you're on, but the hypocrisy is crazy. So, yeah, a great tweet. And then some sicko goes at him and he's like, Big Ben dipshit, right? And then Big Ben's like, new gimmick. So at least he takes it in stride. Not in skating stride. I learned the hard way, but I'm just joking. But yeah, people go in at Big Ben because, he's a prominent indie guy. I mean, he's wrestling Nick Nemeth, dude, right away. And, they're jumping all over him because he's just like, dude, Meltzer's an idiot, which we'll talk about later. He's like, dude, this is a good thing for the indies. And
right.
Yeah, and who wouldn't think that, especially if you're trying to get noticed, especially if, again, you want an increase in pay, you want your local independent to thrive. Holy shit, this guy who's been ID'd is our local guy. That it's just good all around for everybody. And the people who agree are the wrestlers, I would say, and GCW's Brett Lauderdale, who set the record straight, saying that contrary to reports, he claims there are no strict guidelines for independent promotions, right? He says that while promoters can push ID talent, they typically don't. meaning like they can post, hey, come here, we have a WWE ID. But most promoters aren't even pushing it that way. Let WWE do that. They're going to do that already. Why the fuck waste the time? Just promote it how you were promoting it. Clearly it was working. And that's the great approach. And Lauderdale's been handling these sickos with fucking poise. So this guy says, do they have a say if they go over or not? Or is it up to your discretion? Lauderdale says no, there's never been any discussion about winning, losing, and they've never asked, dictated, requested, or solicited anything when it pertains to WWE ID talent. There's no distinction or separate rules for ID versus ID matches. So basically, at the most, right, let's say WWE comes in and says, okay, for our WWE ID championship, we want this person to win that match. How you guys get there is just leave it up to you all. Maybe I'd say that's the most they dabble in it. If I had to guess and be conspiratorial, I don't actually know, right? But when Lauderdale books an ID guy versus an ID guy, there's no say from anybody. It's just operate business as usual. WWE will post it because to let fans know early on, especially the sickos and the wackos like you and I, Ash, they're letting us know, keep your eye on them because you might see them. That's the stars of tomorrow. So what do you think of Lauderdale clapping back and sort of my analysis of all that?
Oh, it's good that he's like giving people an explanation about like how their program is working, and it seems like the WWE the ID things are like separate from the rest of the GCW thing. So the ID stuff is not going to affect the punk rock deathmatch shit that they're known for.
This was community noted as well because Wrestle Purist, fucking Elboo, holding L's over here, quotes The Observer, of course. So just a whole gaggle, clown car full of fucking
source.
Yeah, just a gaggle of fucking fools here. But Meltzer says with WWE ID talent, the deal according to a contract is that Gabe Sapolsky puts their matches together and gives the script to the promoter who has booked them. The promoter pays the talent and can push that the talent comes from WWE. WWE covers the travel costs with a stipend, and the promoter pays the difference if the travel costs are larger than the stipend. Brian. So Dave is just completely talking out of his ass because, this utterly gets refuted. And Lauderdale says, my experience with WWE ID, Gabe doesn't put the matches together. I've never seen or heard of a script. We are allowed to push WWE ID on talent announcements, but we don't. And we're not aware of any travel stipend or whatever. So this also got community noted as well. So Dave just holding an L here. So, I mean, it's the dirt sheets that seem to they're trying to paint the fucking narrative that this is a bad thing is what I feel like. And then their sycophants jump on it, pile on, regurgitate, parrot the shit that doesn't add up. Is that what you're noticing too while you're out there trudging the sludge of the IWC?
Yeah, because I live on Twitter. I'm on Twitter way too much, and I just love how Brett Lauderdale, is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Lauderdale.
Yeah, he is just like giving explanations and just shutting down the lies. And the sad part is you still have people who are choosing to believe Meltzer over the owner of the company, mind you. It's like, you got the owner telling you this is what's going on, this is how the program works. What does he gain from lying about it?
I don't know. I just think it's this thing where he's got to be first, and and people are telling him fake shit because they know they can work him. They can just tell him whatever, and then he'll run with it. And I just think he's proved. I think Dave's embarrassed himself beyond no return, and I just think his usefulness. I don't think he was ever really a good news guy. His usefulness was like documenting and chronicling everything. But now that there's the internet, there's no fucking every Cagematch does that, chronicles everything now and rates everything, right? Like there's no need for Meltzer realistically anymore. Like, not to be fucking rude, but it just to me that's just what the fact of the matter.
It's just like Dave Meltzer has lost so much credibility. Like, does he have any credibility at this rate? It's just it's like the stuff that he like spews. I'm just like, it's got to the point where he's like, he talks so much shit. I can't tell if he's talking out of his mouth or his ass.
What does Jackie Chan say in that movie? Your eyes brown, they're so full of shit. Oh man. So we also have like a meltdown here from an AEW fan being like, so WWE are deliberately attempting to sabotage AEW Forbidden Door pay-per-view ticket sales. This is crazy from WWE and also so petty. I don't ever want to see or hear anyone who on here actively saying WWE doesn't do this shit on purpose. It's blatantly obvious by now. WWE Clash, WWE Live, IWC wake the F up. Tony Khan, start pumping out media and advertisement. Hashtag Raw, hashtag SmackDown, hashtag Dynamite, hashtag Collision, hashtag Dynasty. So here's the problem with a sicko like this, right? And I'm gonna let you give to bring it back to GC Dub. Like, why didn't this guy have a meltdown like that? And we know why. Look at his name at AEW Cero Miedo.
Yeah,
but why? Yeah, why didn't he melt down like this when AEW booked so close to GCW and even stole Cardona and all of that sort of thing? Like, why? Where's the same energy? Why can't these sickos? I keep the same energy when I feel like CM Punk and Seth Rollins spam fucking finishers, and I feel like Ospreay and Ricochet, I don't know, I'm just naming two guys, spam finishers. So I call it the fuck out. Ospreay does spam finishers. He does it with everybody.
He does, yeah.
So it's hard to call out one person because he takes all their finishes and then he gives all his finishes, and then it's like some one move that
fall down
finishes
and get back up.
yeah, fall down, get back up. It just fucking ruins it for everybody because it seems like his moves aren't shit and then their moves aren't shit. But anyways, I call out Punk and Seth all the same energy. Why can't this sicko? I don't know why I'm asking you. We're not psychologists here, Ash, but what is it about? Like it's always a fucking conspiracy with these people. Like they're trying to sabotage. Or are they just like, we don't give a fuck? Like, hey, dude, listen, we're like this big giant band. We're Taylor Swift over here, and you're like these people who draw 200 people at a show at a fucking local club who's like on your way up, and we just happen to have shows around the same time. Like, we don't give a fuck, you know, and we're trying to help out the indies. Whereas you're going at the indies and you're going at us too. So fuck you. Like, you want to be competition. You want to be the challenger brand. Like, why can't they just accept that and be like, okay, we got some work to do? Instead, they just have sicko fucking meltdowns. Like, this has got to be a bot. Tony paid this person to fucking write this, no?
It's just like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's rule for these, not for me type stuff. And it's just like, with these people, like AEW can do no wrong. And it's going back to what you're saying about like counter programming. It's funny how like the AEW fans, they don't bat an eye when AEW counter programmed TNA. And that's done multiple times. Like, how many times have AEW counter programmed whatever TNA pay-per-view was on with their Battle of the Belt stuff?
Yeah. And not only that, well, you're right. And not only that, going on TNA television and talking shit about TNA and WWE, like using TNA TV to talk shit about the company you're on, like bury them, using their TV time to do that and try and take shots at WWE. It's, I don't know. Don't you think that's fucked up too? It's so petty. And then now they want to cry victim. Oh, they're fucking booking venues around the same time. They're just so much bigger, dude. They don't give a fuck. They're not even paying attention. They
want competition until there is competition.
Yeah.
That's what it comes across as. And it's just like, sorry, that's just the way the wrestling business works. It's carny as hell, but you just gotta like work around it as a promoter. It's your job as the promoter to be like, oh yes, that's going on, but this is what's going on here. It's your job as the promoter to get eyeballs onto your product and be like, hey, this is what we're doing. Come look at us. Pay no minds over there. Come here.
Right. And it seems like, the way Lauderdale handles this sort of criticism and this stuff online. And then you look at how like Tony Khan Like, look at how the GCW fans have responded too. So you see, this was announced by Game Changer Wrestling. Speaking of GCW, we have a couple announcements. You brought up actually Pete Dunne earlier. He's going to be in Bloodsport. Speaking of GCW,
man,
Josh
I can't
Barnett.
wait for Bloodsport.
That's going to be so good, and we're going to get.
Guess what happens to be on Bloodsport? That kind of got me interested in the show. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Pete Dunne.
Zack Sabre Jr. is on Bloodsport.
Oh my God! Yeah, I should know because you're a TMDK mark, and I should have fucking known. But yeah, he's on Bloodsport. Pete Dunne, Natty Neidhart as well.
Timothy
so
Thatcher.
That's excellent. Yes. Oh right, Thatcher too. Yeah. So I mean, they're banging. Yes. So we go back over here though, and it's announced that breaking GCW will present WWE ID Championship Tournament opening round matches on Wednesday during Collective 205. So let's take a look here. Right. FSW, Future Stars of Wrestling, also present a WWE, like some of the matches, right? So they're doing like a tournament across the indies to determine who's the WWE ID champions. I love this. I think this is awesome. It's going to bring eyeballs to all the indies. And you scroll down, and here's Neckbeards, of course, saying traitors. All wrestling crowd is in shambles right now. Hateful Select says, enjoy all wrestling crowd sure isn't enjoying this potential wrestling. So I don't know, AEW fans masquerading as GCW fans. So it really seems like people defending GCW and WWE, like they're really pushing back hard on, I guess, these sickos who I'm not seeing, right? And it's just another sicko war that's broke out. But you know, Suffer and Succotash is like, this is embarrassing. Now they are all aligning themselves with the biggest wrestling company and not with the people of Jacksonville who nobody cares about. Oh, come on now. So this guy here with 300 likes says, you sold out. Fahad, right? He says, you sold out. He's ratioed everybody under here. So this guy's like a GCW doing business with WWE. I'm out, right?
Jesus.
Yeah, this guy's like, I say Big Trouble, Ben Bishop squashes all of them. I don't know. That's just me, I guess. Yeah, so just tons of people mad and tons of people pushing back like, nah, fuck you. And this could split GCW fans, right? Like this maybe could put a divide. Now, do you think that will hurt the indies and a company like GCW in the long run, or do you think ultimately this is beneficial and this is just the vocal sickos online and more people will turn out and more eyeballs will get on the indies?
It's just the IWC is just over exaggerating about like in being super dramatic about this because as we've seen with the TNA Impact partnership with WWE and how it's working for both parties, the same thing is going to happen to GCW. Like this tournament is not going to have any effect on your favorites you put in GCW, and who knows, maybe you might want to get like more fans to come to the show. And isn't that what you want? You want to have like more people come to the show so that way you have more people to enjoy with and more people know about your product.
So you had said just a moment ago that, you know, ZSJ got you into like GCW Bloodsport, right? Like it's going to make you watch. Is hearing that Pete Dunne, like let's say ZSJ wasn't on the card, and I know it's hard to like play make believe here, but we'll hit an X-Files.
No, you're not.
But like, let's say it was just Pete Dunne or it was just Natty Neidhart. Is that enough? Like, what Shayna Baszler did Bloodsport before? Did that make you go, "Oh, I got to check out Bloodsport"? Like, because that's sort of proof in the pudding that it doesn't have that. AEW could be doing sort of the same thing. They could have been innovative and on top of this when WWE sort of turned a blind eye and were like, "No, we're going with NIL people." Tony Khan could have been like, oh, we're going to do this with the indies and turn ROH into like the, you know, the NXT, but like for the indies where we say, hey, these are our AEW stamp of approval guys, but just book them and one day maybe you'll see them in AEW. Like they could have been innovative with all of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and ZSJ, you just said it. He makes you like, it's not like Kenny Omega doesn't make you not want to go watch an indie. or if they're trading their stars, but a lot of them are just floaters anyways. So it seems like the indies are at the same level as they are, even a GCW.
So here's how I am. The moment I hear one of my favorite wrestlers is part of the show, whether it be indies or not, I'm more in tuned to watch Bloodsport. So if Zack Sabre Jr. wasn't on Bloodsport and I see Natty Neidhart and Pete Dunne, I'm like, oh shit, two of my favorite wrestlers are on there? Hell yeah, I'm watching.
What do you think of, because AEW sort of, they let these companies like go on par with them. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, instead of being like, we're the big dog and we're going to help rise, what do they say? A big ship rises the tides or some such bullshit. I don't know. I'm an idiot, right? But you get what I'm saying? Like, AEW seems to like level themselves out. They send their biggest star, Jericho. They bring Cardona in and parade him like he's this big thing. And then at the same time, they want to be like, we're a challenger brand. That such a turnoff? Whereas I think this WWE thing is perceived like, you don't get it. Some casuals might check out ID matches just because they're following WWE on social media and see a fucking promo they like. They might be like, damn, oh, this is in my town, I might check this out or whatever. Right?
And WWE's not using their talent to be like, oh, like trying to one up them. They're like, oh, we're a partnership. We're going to put this person on your show in hopes it draws people to your show. And they don't make it like a big deal about it. They're like, it's like, oh, because that's the way that it is. Like, they'll see like WWE fans will see a WWE star on an indie. And who's to say that WWE star wouldn't continue to go to that show because they'll be like, oh, wow, that person's pretty cool. I want to see more of them.
So are you familiar with any of these names? Sean Legacy, Zeta Steel? I know her.
Just Zeta Steel. That's the only person I'm familiar with.
Okay, Ice Williams. I don't like. I've seen clips of him. I'm not super familiar. Jackson Drake, I think, is JD Drake from AEW's brother. I think.
Cappuccino Jones, I've heard about. Oh, I love how all of his moves are a bunch of coffee puns, and I love that.
Okay, yeah, he's got such a good name, Cappuccino Jones. That's I think I called him like Homebrew Jones or something. One of mine, because I was like modding my Wii or whatever. Video game nerds will understand that, but yeah, you're seeing these people on Evolve. They're a part of this tournament, right? And then some of them are these tournaments. It's two tournaments. There's a women's title and a men's title. So if I'm gonna go out on a limb, I'm gonna say like Zeta Steel's gonna win the women's one, just because she's a name that you hear floating around like so frequently. And then I don't know, I'm not sorry, what was that?
I was saying, like, I see a lot of her like highlights and clips of her doing like of her like wrestling on Twitter, and she looks pretty good.
What do you think, like on the men's side? Again, neither of us are overly familiar, but one of these names, like, what's that Jack Cartwheel guy doing? He's fun.
Right?
Throw him in there. Yeah, put him against Cruel. Someone WWE ID Cruel. All right, everyone go Google Cruel. That's your fucking homework. All right, but yeah, I can't even take a guess. But well, you heard it from the fans, the smart mark mouths of myself, Phil, and my good friend Ash. And in a moment here, we will hear from an independent wrestler themselves who's around, not hockey players, by the way, but around, WWE ID talent, is friends with them. Does he know them? Does he call them on the phone? Likely. Right. And so he'll give some insight on that. Big Trouble Ben Bishop. But before I get you out of here, Ash, and we were talking about deathmatch, here's a clip from a GCW show, GCW Japan. This is GCW Ashes, I guess. Ashes to Ashes. Okay. And here's a Phoenix splash onto light tubes onto some guy. Are you ready?
All right, let's bring it on.
Going for here.
Oh.
Nice.
That was pretty clean.
That was sick.
That's so
sick.
It's so dangerous.
That is so gnarly in both definitions of the word.
Ooh, it is terrifying. I see that and I'm just like, oh my God.
You what?
But yeah, would you WWE ID either of these gentlemen?
If I see more of them, yes. I can't base this off this clip. I have to see more of their work and base it from there.
Well, Ash, I want to thank you for joining the show. I got to get Big Ben Bishop in here, and but he was here earlier though. Time cop. But listen, I really appreciate you jumping on. And is there anything you need to tell the PWT universe or any of these dirt sheets out here or the IWC before we let you go?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Batty for Wrestling. Also, I want to give a big shout out to Rage of Wrestling. He's trying to get to subscribers, and if he reaches this subscriber count, he's going to go down to WrestleMania next year. So get him on the road to WrestleMania. Get my friend Walter, Rage of Wrestling, on the road to WrestleMania for next year.
Excellent. Let's do that. And let's go get Batty for Wrestling some subs. And yeah, I appreciate you popping on. We should do this again. And yeah, I'm gonna get out of your hair though. I've taken up too much of your very valuable time. And we got Big Ben coming in here. But time cop style. So you guys stick around, and I assure you this is all one recording. Round of applause for SHADOWBATASH, ladies and gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the show now, and let's get a big round of applause for none other than Big Ben Bishop. Correct. We have Big Ben Bishop here. And boy, I got to tell you, as a Canadian, I am very, very excited to talk to a hockey legend. So before we get into all of the wrestling stuff, and I know you have a big match with Nick Nemeth coming up at ACW in Hagerstown, Maryland. But before we get into the pro wrestling aspect, Big Ben Bishop, what was it like on draft night back in 2005, just waiting for that phone call?
Do you know who you're talking to?
Yeah, well, let me frame it. Like being from Denver, Colorado. I've got to imagine you were hoping it was all a call from the Avalanche. How did it feel to be jumbled around between the Blues and the Senators before really finding your home in Tampa with the Lightning?
The Blues or the Senators, the Lightning. Are those just words? I'm not sure. But
I'm so sorry. Weren't you drafted in 2005? Didn't you debut in 2005? No.
In 2005. You know, who do you think? Do you think I'm the hockey player?
Yeah, I mean that's what the dirt sheets. You aren't legendary hockey. Wait, well, hold on. You aren't legendary all-star hockey goalie Big Ben Bishop, Vezina Trophy winner.
Oh my God.
Martin St. Louis.
Is this what I took? You know what? Here's my connection to Martin St. Louis. If you want to talk about Martin St. Louis, we both are UVM, University of Vermont legends. Okay. No, I am not the goddamn goalie from the Lightning and the Senators and the Blues or whoever the heck else the fake Ben Bishop played for. I'm the real Ben Bishop. Me, Big Trouble Ben Bishop, the master and the ruler of the IWC. This guy right here, not the guy who made millions playing this real sport. Me, the guy falling down voluntarily. I'm the real one.
Oh, geez. Yeah, big trouble, Ben Bishop, you say.
Oh, how disappointed are you now?
Well, I mean, big trouble, Big Ben. I mean, big difference, am I right? I'm sorry. So big trouble, Ben Bishop.
That you
just forget that.
Everything you had is that was a lie. Your life's a lie now, Phil.
I mean, I just had goalie questions. I don't know what you.
Great. Any other questions you got? Let's hear some other questions. You have anything you want to ask me?
Can you skate?
No. That it?
All right. Okay. I see. So I guess we'll just get right to the pro wrestling stuff because that's why we're here. So big trouble, Ben Bishop, my guy. I guess why did you become a wrestler?
Oh my God, that's what you're leading with. I took my time out of my day on this beautiful Wednesday here in Atlanta, Georgia. And your question is, why did I become a wrestler? Like I haven't answered that 100 times before. And I'm gonna answer it again. Why wouldn't I be a wrestler? Look at me. I mean, you kidding? 6'12", 15% of a metric ton. Come on, these bluish greens popping. Why wouldn't I be a wrestler? Look at a former athlete, former failed athlete in basketball, couldn't make it to the next level, had to decide to do something else. It just so I can get some attention. That's why I became a wrestler. It's simple. That's the reason.
Who was your favorite wrestler growing up?
Probably the greatest wrestler of all time, the best work rate. I mean, should have multiple 5-star matches. Kevin Nash, the guy who just gets it more than anybody in wrestling. One of the greatest of all time, and just smarter than everyone else in the professional wrestling business. So that is my all-time influence, Kevin Nash.
So speaking of the Click, who is your favorite member of the Click?
This couldn't suck more.
Never mind. We can go to the next question. Tell me about your first match. And was the hot dog as good as the handshake?
I didn't get either. Also, another bad joke. Let's see where this is going. No, so first match was against Robbie Illuminati and Ruckus of CZW fame. Many people know Ruckus and Robbie on the independent circuit. And my first match was against them in a tag match. I was very fortunate to be there in front of 750 people. I was really feeling myself that night. Really thought that like, oh, this is normal. And then, a few weeks later, I learned that 750 people on an indie show is not normal, and wrestled in front of 40. So I was humbled very quick, but it was a great first night. I loved it. But I learned quick what the indies were.
What is Tony Khan like in real life?
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. I swear. He's actually a very nice guy. A lot of people give him a lot of slack on the internet, and I get it. He's a very rich, very, very rich person. And they don't get a lot of grace when it comes to anything. So I guess that's the nature of the beast. But and just a really down to earth, nice guy. Guy loves wrestling. I'll tell you that. Really loves wrestling. Like that's not a gimmick by any means. Loves it.
What was your favorite wrestling match growing up?
And this is the biggest Mark interview I've ever been a part of. Favorite wrestling match growing up. Dude, the wrestling doesn't matter. It's all the talking and like the storylines and the characters. The wrestling cares about the wrestling, dude. The wrestling sucks. Wrestling sucks. That's gonna get some people mad.
Oh yeah. Do you want to be in WWE one day?
Of course, every single wrestler does. Anybody that says they don't is a liar. Everybody would like to. Maybe people will say like I'd like to, but I know it's not going to happen. But every wrestler would like to. Why would you get into wrestling if it wasn't you wanted to be signed to a major contract? So yeah, I'd love to. If it doesn't happen, that's okay. Everyone's wrong, but I'm hoping it happens.
And last one, what do you think of the Vince McMahon? No, I'm just joking with you.
Oh God, no, yeah.
I'm glad we can have a laugh, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give a round of applause to Big Trouble Ben Bishop there for answering those incredibly markish questions. Thank you so much. Jokings aside, Big Trouble, who you all can follow at Big Trouble BB, by the way, on X. I'm a big fan of yourself and your work. I'm a big fan of what you do on social media as well. I think that it's incredibly important, especially now when there seems to be a culture where like the fans are at war with the wrestlers now seems to be a common thing. And for you to be able to take the piss, it's really sort of refreshing right now. You know what I mean? For a fan.
No, you know what? The way I look at it, I mean, I lived a whole life before I became a wrestler. I started at 29 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So, I played college basketball, played high level high school as well, and high level college at the Division I level. A few fans being mean to me is never going to rattle me, especially online. Online, you kidding me? I was told I was 15, 16 years old at playing a basketball game in high school, and I had people bringing dolls, life-size dolls hanging by a noose with my name on it.
Jesus,
All right.
not as
So
big as you though, obviously.
not as big. So believe me, any of these dorks on the internet that think that they can rattle me because they're going to say, "Oh, this guy sucks. He's never had a 5-star match." Think I give a shit,
Yeah.
buddy? I have my own life outside of this shit. I don't pander to you. I don't pander to these doofus internet fans that think I'm not even going to say fans. I'm going to say internet trolls. I'm sorry because the IWC as a whole, I will say this: the majority are good people. They are.
Yeah.
But it's that loud minority, that like 10-15% of people that ruin it for the rest of them. But if they think these faceless accounts can rattle me or try to get me to quit this, that, and the other, it's like, hey, show up to a show and say it to me at the merch table, and then I'll take you serious. But you're a coward, and you're never going to, and you're not going to buy a ticket because you're broke.
Yeah.
Shut the hell up and just get along with it and deal with it. So, it doesn't faze me. I know, and I'm not going to speak for every wrestler. I know some people take it hard sometimes when they when the faceless frauds like to come at them on the
And that's fine
internet.
too.
Yeah, and that's fine too, 100%. Everybody deals with different, but I mean, no, it's something that I understand. It's like, you know what? I say this, unless you're doing something illegal or unethical, all press is good press. So I will take
no
it.
doubt. That's a good approach, man. And so what made you start like cutting promos on the IWC? I guess obviously some of the stuff you just explained a moment ago, but what about that approach? Like some people, I don't want to say like, a lot of people shy away from it, So what made you just go, no, I'll just call out Meltzer, or I'll just like make fun of reality of how the IWC is. And you're right, a lot of the people who are the loudest, they don't actually be buying pay-per-views or tickets or anything.
No, they don't. And I said that to one guy. I got into it with him at one point, and I was like, you know what? Here's 6 of my shows. Here's some match graphics. Here's where I'm going to be. Come to the show and see how the fans are towards me at the show. Guy was calling me like worthless or not a successful person because I didn't have a cage match rating, right? The dorkiest shit in the world. No wrestler cares about cage match, so I'll say that. And then next thing he says is, "Oh, I don't go to shows." And I'm like, there it is. I knew it. I knew that was going to be the answer, but it's like I knew it. So what started it? I just hate hypocrisy. Like I hate that. I don't enjoy. One of the things I really, really dislike is individuals who try to tear people down for doing something that is I consider brave. Your wrestlers are putting themselves out there in like either whether it be online, in the ring. We're doing something that's dangerous, right? Like this wrestling is not 100% safe. We try for it to be, but there's a lot of injuries happen even on the most basic moves. So people are putting themselves out there. They're trying to entertain. They're trying to chase a dream too, right? And so these people on the internet who are cowards, and they are the ones who want to tear these people down because they don't have the balls enough to do this stuff. Yeah. They hide behind the easiest thing for them is to hate on it because they see someone doing better. It's not that they hate, it's that they're jealous and they're not creative enough or they're not brave enough. It's jealousy and cowardice. That's what it is. They know that they can't do this because they're afraid to. But what's easy for them is to sit behind a random profile pic and just hate and hate and hate on people doing something that they wish they could be doing and they're not doing because they can't do it. So that's something that I absolutely cannot stand, that there's people like that, and I'll call them out and I don't care. And people have said, maybe you should lay out, you shouldn't go back and forth with them. No, you know what? No, I don't care. I'll go back and forth with some of them. Sometimes I mute them and I block them and I don't want to deal with them, but I will. I don't care. I truly don't care. And when it comes to like Meltzer, I don't think Meltzer's a bad person at all. I'm not coming at his character. I also think Dave Meltzer is extremely intelligent when it comes to being a wrestling historian. I think he's a savant, and he's built a following, and I respect the shit out of that because it's very impressive. I just think he's now turned into the Harvey Levin of professional wrestling, where he wants to be the TMZ. He wants to get stuff out before anybody else, and it puts him in a hole. And I think that's silly. And professional athletes call out reporters all the time, and they say, nope, not true. Or they say, like, why should I be afraid to call out somebody? Because he has never stepped in a ring before. I don't have to respect I don't have to respect his opinion on things. Why? I think it's weird that wrestlers are like, oh, don't come at Meltzer. It's like, why? I don't care.
Yeah.
They got give a shit. Like I just think it's I think like if you're gonna make these claims and people you're putting yourself out there to get called out, and the wrestlers are the ones that sometimes we're the ones that are taking the brunt of it. Like I've never taken the brunt of it from him, but like, you know what I mean? Like it's like saying that, for example, like the ID thing, putting out that statement about the WWE ID program,
Right.
and it was proven to be false. All he's doing is hurting these people, hurting their stature in wrestling potentially.
Right.
You know, and that's the issue that I have. That's the issue that I have is like you're trying to tear people down that are trying to chase a dream for no apparent reason just to get some clicks. I think that's bullshit.
Well, speaking about for some clicks here, you brought up Cagematch a moment ago, and we're going to go in on Meltzer a little bit. I like to play a little flute before I make fun of him. As a Mark fan myself, the reason I get upset with Meltzer is because he definitely influences people, and he will just make up blatant stuff and then like a bunch of people run and parrot it because they just take what he says at face value. And I believe that what he did pre-internet can't go understated, should never go understated. But now that there's the internet, there's a million people who can chronicle all the stuff like he does, So that's just my opinion on it. But yeah, I agree with you about him just wanting to be like the first. That's the whole entire culture now the sheets and news has always sort of been that way. Who's first instead of who's right. But now with the internet and with Twitter, it's just so much more prevalent. So I agree with you on that. But on Cagematch, you brought it up. Your rating is an 8 overall on Cagematch. So I'm going to read you your 2 reviews here. Are you ready?
My 2 reviews.
Yeah, dude. So Yellow Guy wrote, pretty good as a big guy. Seems really friendly out of character. He just makes way too many TikTok shorts about indie wrestlers that nobody but wrestlers would get. What do you say to Yellow Guy?
I mean, that's not true. I have a ton of comedians, musicians. A lot of people follow me that get it, or even people that don't understand wrestling. They're like, "You're just a funny person." I get it, but hey, I understand that. I will be the first to say if you don't like my reels or you don't think it's funny, I don't care. I don't think every comedian's funny.
Yeah.
Like it's okay if it's subjective. So I don't. What I get mad at people for is anybody that's just like, "Oh, you're a piece of shit. Oh, what are you just a TikToker, or what are you just this?" I'm like, no, like I'm not. But like I use it for my advantage. So if you don't like it, you don't think it's funny, that's fine. Like I'm never going to get mad at somebody for that. But just to try to disparage me for doing it is a weird flex.
Right. It's funny, bro. Okay. You're funny.
Thank you.
So yeah, What Up wrote and also rated you an 8. What Up said, Ben Bishop, Hurtful Kurt, is insanely underrated. He's actually really good, especially as a big guy his size. His role in Redwood Giants was really... Is this weird reading reviews about yourself to you?
A little bit. Yeah, I never usually
Welcome
do.
to PWT, bro. We do things differently here.
No, it's cool.
He's really good as an independent wrestler. He was an AEW for 1 match. And yeah, you were on Rampage or Collision, correct?
I was on Rampage, yeah.
That's right. And you wrestled Roddy Strong, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure did.
Excellent. And how was that experience for you? He's just, he's a legend in the game,
Oh, yeah. He's awesome, man. He's awesome. Roddy's great. Like I have nothing but good things to say about the guy, even though he beat me in a minute. But yeah. He's a good dude. He's a good dude.
No doubt. So yeah, this guy goes on to say, I hope to see him get his own gimmick in JCW like Jack Tallis, Painful Paul. That would be extremely interesting to see what they give him because they knocked it out of the park with Painful Paul. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, those are pretty good ratings, dude. 2 raving reviews, no?
I'll take 8s. That's fine. I'll take it.
Yeah, no doubt. So speaking of Dave Meltzer, recently, and we'll head over to a place called Phil Mark's Bookmarks over here, okay? And what had happened, we're going to play a flute. So when we make fun of Dave Meltzer here, we preface it by saying this is everybody's favorite segment, and it is called Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. Yes. Okay. So this is hilarious doing this with you, buddy. So You got called MAGA because you don't agree with Dave Meltzer. So what do you make of people who just like to throw around you're an ist, you're an obic, or you're a MAGA or whatever, just because you disagree with anyone, let alone Dave Meltzer? Comes a lot from I don't know, the people who sort of orbit him, And
if you read that thread, he also turned out to tell me that I'm also transphobic as well. So,
right.
Yeah, because I disagreed. This individual has something wrong. I didn't want to go too much back and forth with this individual because obviously something's missing. And he was getting really upset that like people were actually coming to defend me for this. And again, I don't care what someone's political belief is. I am not a political person. I'm political when it comes to wrestling, but in real politics, I am not political. Right. I will never have a conversation online about anybody's political belief as well. So that's first and foremost. But yeah, it's easy. It's low hanging fruit. It's something that you can say to somebody and get people, like, for example, you can get people to pile on because like if this person had any sort of following, they don't, but if they did, it would be easy for people to start piling on me and believe that because a lot of people believe what they read on the internet. So, and again, I'm not saying supporting Donald Trump is a bad thing. I have friends that do. Whatever you have, I don't, but it's not against it. Okay. So that's just my take. People can be friends and they have different political affiliations. But what I'm going to say is that he knows that's an internet thing that can get people mad. I know people did that to Jack Vaughn as well. And said he's a MAGA thumping something. And I asked, and I was talking to him. He's like, I never posted about being in any sort of political like affiliation, but people think I'm MAGA for some reason. Like he's like, I've never posted. Ridiculous. He's like, I've never, but now people try to say that to disparage me, and it's and that's the thing. Like these people are doing that. They want to disparage people, and then like I said, lower down in the thread, now he's saying that me and people that support me are transphobic. So it is really just unbelievable. So yeah.
Yeah, saying you bring out the worst people in the community. Bud, get a mirror.
Get a mirror, for real.
Get a mirror, buddy. Go say that to yourself a few times. So I don't know. You've had some funny tweets. I bookmark them here. Meltzer's recent stats. Tony Snell versus Jazz.
Poor Tony Snell.
Yeah, dude. 28 minutes. He's catching strays. Yeah. So yeah, Dave Meltzer. I mean, you brought it up before, and I have some like examples. We have some Dave stuff to laugh at here. But again, here's you just throwing out there, Dave's missing. Now, you obviously know you're going to get a rise out of people by doing this online too. So it's not like you're a stupid guy. You know what you're doing as well. Oh, yeah. So yeah. So I don't know. It's smart and it's good. I like to see when wrestlers call them out a little bit. Here's something you said like a while ago. You said, it actually blows my mind how people continue to defend Dave Meltzer. I agree. I called him out and I get attacked by his loser fan base. Yep. This guy is a piece of shit tabloid wannabe Harvey Levin with no real sources and no credibility anymore. It's true. He was once great at what he did, but now he's a detriment to pro wrestling. Yeah. And I think that's, when you see, I don't know, when you just see the way, people cater to him, it definitely as a fan, you're like, dude, come on.
Especially this report when he was saying about Pat McAfee was part of an angle, but it was a death in the family. Like, dude, shut up. Like, yeah, it's just inconsiderate. And my issue is that there's never like, if there was like hey guys, I apologize, that wasn't right, that wasn't correct, but he doubles down. He doubles down on it, and he's like, nope, that's what I was told. And it's like, oh, so you're just gonna say it? Like you have he has an influence. He does. Like whether you like it or not, the guy has an influence in wrestling.
Yeah.
Like I don't like it, but he does. And he's built that influence. So again, respect to him for building a following. Right. But again, like that for saying things like that when you have an influence like he does is just wrong.
Right. And I believe this is off the back of or just before as well. I believe Alpha had passed away, but he had jumped the gun and been like, Alpha's passed away. And then I believe his daughters were like, he didn't. And then he passed away the next day. And Dave was like, well, I had checked in and I just assumed or whatever. And it's like, bro, you cannot do that at the level you're at. I don't know. It disturbs me sometimes. The levels he'll go to sometimes to be like, oh, I got the scoop. And it's like, no, man, you're getting worked by a fan made WBD internal memo that someone put in like a Fightful Discord, and you're like, I have the insight. You know what I mean? I have an internal memo. It's like, bro.
I get how some of these, you want to be the first, right? And
Mhm.
like, it's a true tabloid Wrestling Observer. It is. And the thing is, like, I respect guys. I know a lot of people give him a lot of slack, but I respect guys like SRS, Sean Ross Sapp, because he does do his due diligence and he checks with multiple sources. And is he always right? No, he's
no,
not.
you're never going to be.
But he'll also say at times, like, I edited this, I was wrong. And here's the story. And I was told something different, didn't happen. And again, like, I respect that. You can be wrong. I don't care. Right. The weatherman's wrong. The weatherman's wrong. The best baseball players are fail 70% of the time at the plate. So it's like, it's okay to not be right or to fail at times. But as long as you take accountability and you own up to it and say, hey, hand up, my bad. That wasn't the correct thing. That's fine. Like that, but he doesn't do that. And I just think it's wrong.
Yeah, I think we're at a stage too where, at least where it comes to WWE for sure, where they're purposefully stooging out like false stuff, or like some of it's accurate and then some of it's wrong, just so people miss more, and then it keeps you guessing.
I mean, it's smart if you're working it like that. Like, I think it's smart, but I don't know. I don't know that at all. But,
right. I'm not asking for a scoop here, but this ain't a dirt sheet. No. Listen, so you spoke earlier about the ID story, right? So Meltzer ended up like deleting that from the Observer. And then Meltzer said what in brackets says, I bet he doesn't miss the print edition today, though. So basically he printed this whole, or he talked about on his radio show, I'm not sure, it was just quoted and posted everywhere, where he was saying how WWE ID basically has total control, pal, over all of the people they've ID'd on the indies, and they're calling the shots on indies. We had Brett Lauderdale and others call this out. You work the indies, man. I mean, tell us more about that. Obviously, you said it before, like, it can affect people's livelihoods to a degree. And yeah, what do you make of like him just completely botching this ID thing? Like, where's he getting this from? And I don't know, like, at what point this has got to affect some of these indie wrestlers in a negative way. No, like, some people might be hesitant to take an ID opportunity if they trust what Meltzer has to say. Thank God people came out and proved this wrong. But what's your perspective as an indie wrestler?
I mean, again, like I mentioned, this is that, like, it can definitely be a detriment. Like, I don't think people take it as serious, so I don't think it's going to be a detriment, but it could be a detriment of the WWE ID talent, of like trying to get booked. Again, I've been around them. I know a lot of them. I've been in locker rooms with them. I don't know where the information's coming from. I truly don't. I don't know how it works. Now, when they work each other, are the matches put together? Maybe, like, because it's their own thing, right? But I've never seen like talent, like WWE ID talent work indie talent, and like things be like, I need to do this, and this is how it needs to work. Like, I mean, I've been around it, and it's not the case. I can't speak for the WWE ID matches when they do their own matches. I don't know. I haven't seen that, but when I've seen WWE ID guys work other individuals, and as you said, promoters like Brett and the Defy promoter, I'm not sure of his name, but or her, I'm not really sure who runs Defy, but they came out and was like, it's not true. Like, it's not true. So it's ridiculous.
Would you take up like a WWE ID thing? And you don't even got to answer that, but like, would you do it? Is that something you're like, oh yeah, I'd do it, but I'm just focused on my own thing right now? Or
of course I would. Like, I think if it leads, I mean, we don't know what it is. We don't know what it's going to turn out to be. Right. And I think for now, I think it's a positive thing. It's like they're showing interest in the indies. Remember, like, years ago, people were complaining that WWE was only focused on college athletes, and everybody got mad about that. Now they're putting more of a focus on the indies, and some reason people are mad about that. So, people are going to be mad no matter what. Fickle. Yeah. So I think it's good. They're focusing on I know it's run by Gabe Sapolsky, who is a big fan of the indies, and he's a flag bearer for the indies. And he's somebody that, understands that's where really good talent comes from. And it's not just, you can't just always have a ton of college athletes. They're great athletes, but some of them don't care about wrestling, right? So the indies, you really have to care about wrestling. As much as I make fun of it and have fun and poke fun at silly things on the indies, I care about it. I wouldn't do this if I didn't.
Right.
So I think it's a good thing, and we're going to see where it goes. You know, it's literally only been, it started in November. Like, it's been like less than 6 months. Like, so I mean, let's see where it goes from here.
Yeah, and people got to realize too, people are harsh on things they love as well. Like I my show's just cracking jokes and going on angry tirades, and that's because I care. I love wrestling. I just want to see it thrive and all of that sort of thing. But anyways, though, Dave, this Bob McGee 70323520 says, Dave, any word is a bot if I've ever seen one. Dave, any word on the WWE ID thing? Were you given wrong information, or are there different standards for different people? Dave's like, well, except actually, well, Joe Lanza did a breakdown. So yeah, I don't know. Joe Lanza, I guess, gets the heat for this shit now.
Yeah, just puts the heat on Joe Lanza.
Man, I'm no Voices of Wrestling fan either, but I mean, he's like, well, I mean, it wasn't even me, Brian. So in today's Wrestling Observer newsletter, and what appears to be a now deleted story in the online version of the newsletter, Dave Meltzer reported on guidelines. So he said, when it comes to WWE ID talent, the deal according to a contract is that Gabe Sapolsky puts the matches together, Brian, and gives scripts to the promoter. The promoter pays the talent and can push that the talent comes from. Holy shit, man. Is this what he really wrote? WWE covers the travel cost with a stipend, and the promoter pays the difference if the travel costs are larger than the stipend. Did he really make this much typos? I don't know if he wrote this. That's ridiculous. If someone else rewrote that and butchered his writing, but Dave, not the best penmanship, I'd say. But yeah, if the travel costs are larger than the stipend, so he gets called out like there's no stipend, and like that's the sort of stuff that can like affect people or affect people's decisions and that sort of thing.
I mean, again, like, promoters are going to pay the wrestlers to come into the promotion. That's, if you want to call that a stipend, like, sure. Like, yeah. But like, promoters are going to pay, and they're going to bring them in and pay for their flights. Like, I get flights paid for, I get travel paid for. Like, it doesn't, like, what is that? Like, I don't understand. Like, yeah, indie wrestlers, do people think we just all do it for free all the time? Like that, because the joke of the hot dog and the handshake joke that's overplayed? Like, is it because so they think that like the only way we can make any money is if WWE, or the only way that we can get to shows is if WWE pays for it? Like, it's just so silly. It's so dumb.
It is.
And like, yeah, are they getting opportunities? Yeah, of course they got WWE Evolve, right? So they're doing different things. So they're getting a little bit more like exposure from WWE. So yes, that is helping them. But like these like BS stories about like how they go into promotions and demand to win and they have to be put over and this, that, and the other. It's like, just give me a break, dude. Give me a break.
So at Meltzer Said What, and if you want a great follow, dude, follow Meltzer Said What. Not a vicious, malicious, or gross person by any means. Goes at Meltzer pretty hard, but just has been chronicling his stupidity forever. Good friend of the show. But just lastly, he posts like, and Meltzer completely no-sells it and doesn't acknowledge it even, that he got it wrong on Observer Radio. Meltzer Said What listens to everything, so you take his word here. Dave didn't even acknowledge it. Dave then gets called out on it, and instead of acknowledging it, he lies. He vaguely directs people to go pay Joe Lanza and the Voices of Rats Patreon get exclusive details on the lies that Dave seemingly made up. So yeah, I don't know. Again, just skirting the responsibility, and that's just sort of where you got to call it out. It's like if he owned it and was like, dude, I fucked up. I don't know. I got my information. This guy, I'm not going to trust this source again, maybe. You don't even have to go that far. Just, dude, I fucked up. But instead, no, it's like doubling down, and go show some more money. You gave me $14.99. Go show some more to these assholes for them to lie to you or not have the full story.
And you know what? Wrestling is carny as shit to begin with. So hey, dude,
exactly.
if you're hawking your shit and wanting to get paid for it, Dave, go ahead. Like, go. And if people are paying for it, that's not his problem.
Yeah.
So like, do your thing, man. Like, and if this is if he's just playing a part right now, and if this is all a big work, then kudos to him. I'll be his biggest fan if he's playing this part and it's working for him by making him money. But if it's not, then I'm not his fan. And I think it's lame.
Well, you know what they say.
Best guys, Tony Khan.
And that was Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Big Trouble Ben Bishop here on PWT. Dude, I just want to thank you again
Oh yeah, dude, that
for
was
doing
fun.
this.
Absolutely, Phil. That was a blast. I really appreciated you having me on. And again, if I could say anything to people, don't take this too serious, man.
Right.
It's supposed to be fun. Wrestling's supposed to be fun. Really break down what professional wrestling is. Really break it down what we're doing and think about it. And I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to want to pull back the curtain too much.
Right.
But think about what we're doing. And if you take it that serious and you're just not enjoying it, we all grew up fans. A lot of us grew up fans of the hokiest shit in the world, right?
Right.
Like the hokiest wrestling. And we enjoyed it because it was escapism. It was fun. Just have fun. It's what it's supposed to be. You don't need to know every backstage detail. You don't need to know who's feuding with who in real life. You don't need to know who's dating who. Just enjoy it. It's a show. It's a TV show. It's supposed to be fun. Or if you go to an indie show, it's supposed to be theater. You watch it, you have fun, then you go home and you deal with the other life problems. But just that's what I try to tell people. It's supposed to be a good time. So don't make it a bad time.
I love that so much. And, I just want to congratulate you, like you wrestled AJ Francis, you got Nick Nemeth coming up. Let me plug that, by the way, March 21st. So that's either tomorrow or tonight, depending on which day this comes out. Time cop. But March 21st in Hagerstown, Maryland, ACW. Big Trouble Ben Bishop taking on former WWE and TNA World Champion Nick Nemeth. And dude, this attitude you have and your approach, that's going to take you farther than your very impressive physical stature and abilities, in my opinion, at least. But what do I know? I am just a dumb mark. But at Big Trouble
You're
BB,
a smart mark. You're a smart mark.
Hey, Phil S. Marks, right? That's Phil S. Marks to you, sir. But follow him at Big Trouble BB on X. He's a hilarious follow. And again, matchup with Nick Nemeth. That should be, tomorrow night or tonight. This will be out either Thursday or Friday morning. And that's in Hagerstown, Maryland, ACW. Big Trouble. Thanks so much for doing this, man. I really appreciate it. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the man himself.